Good afternoon, brothers and sisters, and welcome to Readings with Regina. I'm so glad to be here with you today, and I'd like to give a special shout out to all of my new subscribers. It's so wonderful. I'm glad you're here and know that you are entering into a space of metaphysical prayer. Now, I want to remind my old listeners and my new listeners Readings with Regina was created because I want to influence people, American people in particular, Black people especially, to be more intellectual. Yes, I want you to read much more because the level of reading has gone down in America proper. And I want to bring it back up. Why do I want to do that? Because when you read or are read to, your brain, okay, makes new neural connections. And when you read repeatedly or are read to repeatedly, that does fantastic things for your intellectual capability. And this is what we want. How in the world are we going to take back or take, let me not use that language, take over our country, which we need to, because you know that our country is being run by satanic people. They like to kill, your politicians like to kill, 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 bloodlust. So I want to contribute to raising the intellectual level of American people in general and Black people specifically. Hello. Now, okay, I want you to, I thought I would share this with you. I want you to look on YouTube and follow a guy called Jeffrey Sachs, Sachs. And let me tell you why I want you to follow him, or at least listen to him on some of the programs that he's on, because he's an economics person. All right. And the first book that I'm going to read to you, it deals with the economics of the enslavement period. Now, what Jeffrey Sachs will do is to tell you about the current day economy, which you really need to know about. You really need to understand why that person in the White House would send troops to Venezuela to humiliate that president and his wife, to humiliate that country. Why he would kill over 175 baby girls from 7 to 12. Your country did that with your tax dollars. So we got to do something. Now, you see my banner? You are a gift from the universe. Know your power, people. You got more power than you think. See, the controllers of this country, they don't want you to know that you have power. You got it. Okay? Link to it. Make sure that you do something that will help this place that was given to us, this earth, to steward, to make sure that you are living a life where you are contributing to the betterment of yourself, your family, your friends, and the planet itself. All right, here we go. The Slave Ship by Marcus Rediker. I'm going to continue reading from that book. And once again, you know, I want you to use these videos as a teaching tool, right? Yes. So, any words that I say that you just don't know, have your children look them up or you look them up. Increase your vocabulary. Understand the foundation of this country so that you can understand your present and you can then create your future. Here we go. Postlewaite's view of the triangular trade, that's a slave trade, in which the ships proceeded from a European or American port with a cargo of manufactured goods to West Africa, where they traded for slaves, to America, where they traded for plantation produce such as sugar, tobacco, or rice, became the dominant way of viewing the slave trade for the next 2.5 centuries. Recently, scholars have discovered that the trade was not strictly triangular because many slave ships could not get a return cargo in the West Indies or North America. Yet the notion of a triangular trade remains valuable because it permits a visualization of the three essential corners and components of the trade: British or American capital and manufacturers, West African labor power, that's us, and American commodities. By the time Postlethwaite wrote, around 4 million Africans had already been delivered by slave ships to ports of the Western Atlantic. Like almost all other European maritime states, Britain played an important role in the early phases of the slave trade, chartering and subsidizing Postlethwaite's own employer, the Royal African Company, the Royal African Company, the Royal African Company, a trading monopoly in 1672. See, they had companies based upon slavery and the slave trade. Them white folks wasn't playing. Yo! All right, let me not preach because I got a lot to get through. Slave trading was so expensive and demanded such a concentration of resources that private capital alone could not originally finance it. Beginning in the early 18th century, the so called free traders finally triumphed over the regulated monopolies, but only after the state had helped to build the infrastructure for the trade. Indeed, this is what moved Postlethwaite to petition for compensation and support in a deregulated age. British and American merchants took their chances in a trade that had high entry costs and enormous risk. In earlier days, small investors, the middling sort, including artisans, might make money by buying a partial share stock market or putting a little cargo in a Guinea ship. I told you about that name, Guinea. All right, I'm not going to stop and talk about it now, but you should look it up or look on previous episodes of Readings with Regina. But by the 18th century, the trade was firmly in the hands of merchants who had huge sums of capital and, in most cases, carefully acquired experience and knowledge of the trade. As John Lord Sheffield wrote in 1790, this meant that the trade was carried on by, quote, men of capital, the oligarchs, and transient adventurers will be discouraged from engaging in it, end of quote. Profits for those big merchants could be extraordinary, as much as 100% on an investment if everything went right. But the losses could be immense because of the dangers of disease, insurrection, 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 shipwreck, and capture by enemy privateers, pirates. The average rate of profits for slave trade investors in the 18th century was 9 to 10%, which was considerable, but not excessive by the standards of the day. Postlethwaite had such profits and a larger imperial system in mind when he noted that Britain, and indeed all the maritime powers of Europe, the slave trade made Europe economically famous, America as well, was raising, the maritime powers of Europe was raising, quote, a magnificent superstructure. You hear this? You hear what this lady? You hear what your ancestors did? A magnificent superstructure of American commerce. Now, this is the writer, Postlethwaite, and naval power. American commerce, that's trade. All right, that's what's going on now. Okay, why, in fact, America invaded Iran, you dig, and Israel as well. They want to own that land. In any event, let me read that again. A larger imperial system in mind when he noted that Britain, and indeed all the maritime powers of Europe, was raising, quote, a magnificent superstructure of American commerce and naval power. Oh, the Navy on an African foundation. Now, hey, that's what this scholar wrote. Africa made Europe and America. Yes, it did. Okay, I'm getting ready to go to my next book, but let me see what this comment is. I love comments. Oh, I know. Okay. Hi, my camera lens is partially blocked. Ugh, let me see. Okay, I want y'all to let me know if it's better. Okay, because it might not be. Let me just trying to do something here. Shit. Oops, excuse me. I didn't mean to. Is that any better? Let me know. Okay, because it might not be. Let me put this here. See what's up. Let me know if that's better. Okay? Y'all let me know if that's better. All right, because you know I'm still learning this stuff. All right. Oh, great. So I said that's better. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Okay. So we're going now to Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. Now, for my new people, love this book. This is based on a true story. Yes, indeed. And the reason that we even have this work is because of this lovely woman, Mariah Child, Lydia Mariah Child. I'm going to show you all next time we meet a book about her by a scholar that I know very well. Anyway, here we go. Now, this was written in around the 1850s. Linda Brent, Harriet Jacobs, had a pedophile owner, okay, and she wouldn't comply. She's older now, she's in her 20s. And so, anyway, what the fuck? Oops. Oh my Lord. I don't know what's going on today. This is a spooky kind of day. I'm back. Let me get to the reading. Okay. Anyway, Linda has a plan. We don't know what it is, but she's going to get out of slavery. Boom. My plan was to conceal myself at the house of a friend and remain there a few weeks till the search was over. My hope was that the doctor would get discouraged because Dr. Flint, he'd promised he'd build a house in the woods so he could come and rape her anytime he wanted to. She refused. So he sent her to his son's plantation. My hope was that the doctor would get discouraged and for fear of losing my value and also of subsequently finding my children among the missing, he would consent to sell us. And I knew somebody would buy us. That's the man that, she had the kids by. I had done all in my power to make my children comfortable during the time I expected to be separated from them. I was packing my things when grandmother came into my room and asked what I was doing. Oh, I'm just putting my things in order, I replied. I tried to look and speak cheerfully, but her watchful eye detected something beneath the surface. She drew me towards her and asked me to sit down. She looked earnestly at me and said, Linda, do you want to kill your old grandmother? Do you mean to leave your little helpless children? I'm old now, and I cannot do for your babies as I once did for you. I replied that if I went away, perhaps their father would be able to secure their freedom. Ah, my child, she said, don't trust too much to him. Stand by your own children and suffer with them till death. Nobody respects a mother who forsakes her children. And if you leave them, you will never have a happy moment. If you go, you will make me miserable and shorten the time that I have to live. You would be taken and brought back, and your sufferings would be dreadful. Remember poor Benjamin? That was her uncle. He ran away, came back. They beat him, put him in jail. White folks can be terrible. Yes. Okay. Do give it up, Linda. Try to bear it a little longer. Things may turn out better than you expect. Now, you see, this is an older enslaved sister talking to a younger enslaved woman. My courage failed me in view of the sorrow I should bring on that faithful, loving old heart. I promised that I would try longer and that I would take nothing out of her house without her knowledge. Whenever the children climbed on my knee or laid their heads on my lap, she would say, "Poor little souls, what would you do without a mother? She don't love you as I do." And she would hug them to her own bosom as if to reproach me for my want of affection. But she knew all the while that I loved them better than my life. I slept with her that night, and it was the last time. The memory of it haunted me for many a year. On Monday, I returned to the plantation and busied myself with preparations for the important day. Wednesday came. It was a beautiful day, and the faces of the slaves were as bright as the sunshine. The poor creatures were merry. They were expecting little presents from the bride and hoping for better times under her administration. I had no such hopes for them. I knew that the young wives of slaveholders often thought their authority and importance would be best established and maintained by cruelty. And what I had heard of young Mrs. Flint gave me no reason to expect that her rule over them would be less severe than that of the master and overseer. Truly, the colored race are the most cheerful and forgiving people on the face of the earth. That their masters sleep in safety is owing to their superabundance of heart, and yet they look upon their suffering with less pity than they would bestow on those of a horse or a dog. I stood at the door with others to receive the bridegroom and bride. She was a handsome, delicate looking girl, and her face flushed with emotion at sight of her new home. I thought it likely that visions of a happy future were rising before her. It made me sad, for I knew how soon clouds would come over her sunshine. She examined every part of the house and told me she was delighted with the arrangements I had made. I was afraid old Mrs. Flint had tried to prejudice her against me, and I did my best to please her. All passed off smoothly for me until dinner time arrived. I did not mind the embarrassment of waiting on a dinner party for the first time in my life half so much as I did meeting Dr. Flint, that was the pedophile, a pedophile owner, and his wife. His wife hated her, blamed her, not Dr. Flint. While Mrs. Flint had not made her appearance in the plantation during all the time I was putting the house in order. I had not met her face to face for 5 years, and I had no wish to see her now. She was a praying woman and doubtless considered my presence position a special answer to her prayer. Now, Dr. Flint been chasing his child since she was 12. The wife was right there, but the wife blamed the enslaved woman for her husband's dalliances. Crazy. I was just where she would have me, in the power of a hard, unprincipled master. She did not speak to me when she took her seat at table, but her satisfied, triumphant smile when I handed her plate was more eloquent than words. The old doctor was not so quiet in his demonstrations. That's her previous pedophile owner. He ordered me here and there and spoke with peculiar emphasis when he said, "Your mistress." I was drilled like a disgraced soldier. When all was over and the last key turned, I sought my pillow, thankful that God had appointed a season of rest for the weary. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. All right, Linda got a plan. Wait do you hear what that plan's going to be. Okay, next book is Ida B. Wells, Ida B. Wells, Ida B. Wells, Ida B. Wells, Ida B. Wells. Love this. Ida B. Wells, of course, is a true person. And this is her book put together by her daughter. And let me just go over the last reading that I had because it blew my mind decades ago when I first read it. Girlfriend had a pistol. Yo! Her friends had been lynched. Boom. She was a newspaper writer and owner. She had part ownership in the newspaper that she owned with two other men. In any event, once she saw lynching and wrote about it, hey, white men got together and said they were going to kill her on sight. Luckily, she was traveling, all right, to the black areas of New York, and she's with T. Thomas Fortune. He's an actual person that you people should look up. He had a newspaper called the New York Age, and when she arrived in New York, he told her, "Hey, we didn't say, hey, that's Regina. But any event, he said to her, the white folks are waiting for you, okay, because they want to kill you." And she said, I got a pistol too. Power. She said, I've been carrying a pistol. And if any of them attack me, I'm going to take one or two of them with me. I said, well, when I first read that, I was stunned. Stunned. Ida B. Wells of the early 19th century was a Panther. Here we go. Self-defense. Yes. All right. I shall pick up here. Oh, let me just say this. And the black people in Memphis, they were like, look, we got you covered. Okay, we are at every train station waiting for you, but they encouraged her not to come back. Why? Because they didn't want to start a race war. So she thought about that. She's in New York. Okay. Because I saw the chance to be of more service to the cause by staying in New York, I love how she talks. Then by returning to Memphis, I accepted their advice, took a position on the New York Age, that's a newspaper, and continued my fight against lynching and lynchers, lynching and lynchers, lynching and lynchers. They had destroyed my paper, in which every dollar I had in the world was invested. You see that she bought part of the apparatus that ran the newspaper. So she wasn't just an employee. Big, she actually invested in the company that she worked with and for. And I'm saying that because I want my people to be thinking about independent ways that you can make money in this racist capitalistic country that will make you and your family more economically solvent. Okay, here I go. They had destroyed my paper in which every dollar I had in the world was invested. They had made me an exile and threatened my life for hinting at the truth. I felt that I owed it to myself and my race to tell the whole truth. So, with the splendid help of T. Thomas Fortune and Jerome B. Peterson, owners and editors of the New York Age, I was given an opportunity to tell the world for the first time the true story of Negro lynchings. Now, let me explain this. The true story of Negro lynching, because you know what those white demonic people, men back in this day did? They would write up what when they lynched a black man or black man, killed him. They would say, "Well, he was after the white woman. He raped the white woman." That's what a lot of people, black and white, believe that these black men were raping white, but they weren't raping no white women. Her friends were business owners, and they killed them. The white racist pigs killed them. But the mainstream media, and I tell you this all the time, don't I, people? Do not believe your contemporary media. Find alternate media forms to look at. All right, let me get back to the book. Did it. I was given an opportunity to tell the world for the first time the true story of Negro lynchings, which were becoming more numerous and horrible. And you see that? That's because black men were now out of slavery and were trying to do for the race. Had it not been for the courage and vision of these two men, I could never have made such headway in emblazoning the story to the world. These men gave me a one-fourth interest in the paper. Now look at that. Investing. In return for my subscription lists, which were afterward furnished me, and I became a weekly contributor on salary. The readers will doubtless wonder what caused the destruction of my paper after 3 months of constant agitation following the lynching of my friends. They were businessmen. They were killed on the 9th of March. The free speech was destroyed May 27, 1892, nearly 3 months later. I thought then it was the white Southerner's chivalrous defense of his womanhood, that's what I just explained, which caused the mob to destroy my paper, even though it was known that the truth had been spoken. I know now that it was an excuse to do what they wanted to do before, but had not dared because they had no good reason until the appearance of that famous editorial. I'm going to stop right there. Yeah, like I said to you before, people, white folks made up good lies to lynch black men. All right? Yes, they did. Okay? So, Ida's newspaper was exposing that lie that was across the country. Okay. The last book that I'm going to read to you today, Asada. 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 Now, I am sure most of you all know about Asada Shakur. And if some of you don't, I want you to look her up. Asada was my Panther sister. She graduated from the Black Panther Party for self-defense and became a member of the Black Liberation Army. Hello. Why I'm saying these things to you, in particular to Black people, because I want you to know the heroes that loved you so much. They were willing to donate their entire lives, all right, protecting you, giving you honor. One of the greatest escapes in the world was Asada Shakur to Cuba. Yes. You know the Cuba, that person that runs everything in the White House said that he wants to deal with next. Yeah, they want to destroy Cuba. Yo, know your power, people, and don't let that happen. I predict it's not going to happen anyway. And Iran is going to bring out a lot of stuff. Watch, my people. Okay. Now, this is still, I think this is just still a part of, yeah, I think this is still a part of, yeah, an open letter that Asada, she's been in prison now, and she wrote this open letter to Black people. And I'm going to read from it right now. Okay. They call us thieves, but we did not rob and murder millions of Indians by ripping off their homeland, then call ourselves pioneers. They call us bandits, but it's not we who are robbing Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Now, this is in the 70s. What she's saying goes right now. Africa, oh, America's in Africa. Yo, America's bombing Africa. Yes, Asia and Latin America, Venezuela, please, of their natural resources and freedom, while the people who live there are sick and starving. The rulers of this country are their flunkies, have committed some of the most brutal, vicious crimes in history. They are the bandits, they are the murderers, and they should be treated as such. These maniacs are not fit to judge me, Clark, or any other Black person on trial in America. Black people should and inevitably must determine our destinies. Every revolution in history has been accomplished by actions, although words are necessary. We must create shields that protect us and spears that penetrate our enemies. Black people must learn how to struggle by struggling. We also must learn by our mistakes. I want to apologize to you, Black brothers and sisters, for being on the New Jersey Turnpike. I should have known better. The Turnpike is a checkpoint where Black people are stopped, searched, harassed, and assaulted. Revolutionaries must never be in too much of a hurry to make careless decisions. He who runs when the sun is sleeping will stumble many times. Every time a Black freedom fighter is murdered or captured, the pigs try to create the impression that they have quashed the movement, destroyed our forces, and put down the Black Revolution. The pigs also try to give the impression that 5 or 10 guerrillas are responsible for every revolutionary action carried out in America. That is nonsense. That is absurd. Black revolutionaries do not drop from the moon. We are created by our conditions, shaped by our oppression. We are being manufactured in droves in the ghetto, streets, places like Attica, San Quentin, Bedford Hills, Leavenworth, and Sing Sing. They are turning out thousands of us, many jobless black veterans. Yes. Now she talking about black vets then, Vietnam. How about black vets today? And welfare mothers are joining our ranks, brothers and sisters from all walks of life who are tired of suffering passively. Make up the BLA. It is it is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our change. Asada Shakur. Okay, people, I'm going to stop right here because I want to talk to you. Yo, I selected these books because I really wanted you to see that you have heroes that you may not know about, because regular history in this country is not going to teach you truthfully about your Black history. This is why it is imperative that you pick a day when you teach your children, okay? Make up assignments for them. Let them look up words, merchants, capitalists, expansionism, naval power. Let me show you this thumbnail. All right. Africa made England rich. Africa made England and America rich. Now, at the bottom of the thumbnail on the right-hand side, that is Mark Clark. He was killed along with Fred Hampton. People know more about Fred Hampton. These were Chicago Panther leaders. Mark Clark was the captain of the Peoria, Illinois, a chapter of the Black Panther Party for self-defense. And Fred, he was the captain of the Chicago, Illinois Black Panther Party for self-defense, and the police and the FBI and the CIA killed these heroic brothers. Okay? Know them. All right? December 4th, 1969, the pigs in Chicago, along with CIA, FBI, killed these beautiful Black men. Hello. And so, that is one of the main reasons, too, that I put Readings with Regina together. Our people must learn their own heroes. Do not just look at TV, go to movies, go to concerts. Make reading of Black literature a part of your life and a part of your children's lives. Now, having said that, I'm not going to be with you next week, okay? But I will be back on March 24th. But, those of you who have subscribed, you'll get a notification. But once again, I won't be with you next week, but I'm coming back March the 24th. In the interim, take any of these episodes and relook at them. Remember I told you about the brain? Yo, once you learn new ideas, you have to keep repeating them so that the brain can hardwire them and that you can step into your present and future with more knowledge than you had before. I have studied the brain, my people. I have studied everything I possibly could because I wanted to share it with my people so that you could be more intellectually involved in what is happening in this country. Okay? Check out Jeffrey Sachs. I also encourage you to look at rt.com. News, yo. Okay, so I'm going to sign off, but I wanted to say those things to you. Always learn. And by the way, here we go. Here we go. This is important what I'm about to say. Yes, learning is difficult. Sure, it is. Absolutely. I get letters and not letters. I get email. People don't always know the words that I'm reading. That's fine. Look them up. Look them up. Write them down. Study them. Now, let me tell you something else that I have discovered as I am an elder. Boom. If you think that you were sent to earth to just eat a cheesesteak and drink a soda and look at TV, I need you to think again. All right. Every last one of us, I absolutely believe was sent to Earth on a particular kind of mission that we do not know. We have forgotten what it was or is. Now, challenges are good. That's how you grow. You don't grow when everything just goes fabulously well for you all the time. It is the challenges in life that bring out your creativity and bring out your courage. Never forget that I've said this to you. I absolutely believe what I'm saying. And this country is so corrupt. It is so run by people who are demonic and they like blood, like vampires. Where do you think the vampire image came from? Didn't come from Africa, it came from Europe. Where do you think atheism came from? Whoa. So, in any event, brothers and sisters, this is why I do what I do. I'm glad you're here with me, and I will look forward to seeing you on March 24th. And know that you are prayed for every day. And in return, pray for me. Yo, I need it too. I love you dearly, and I want you to have a good time this week. Do something nice for your people, do something nice for yourself. Bye now.